Imagine loving someone for 17 years.
My wife always said the past should stay buried, but the past has a funny way of clawing its way back up when you least expect it. For years, she told me our marriage was strong because we survived everything together. I believed her. Every single time. I believed her when she said we were unbreakable. I believed her when she held my hand, looked me in the eyes, and told me we had built a beautiful family. But belief is a fragile thing, and the truth is loud. It all started on a Saturday afternoon. I was cleaning out the garage, tackling that mountain of boxes we'd been ignoring for years. That's when I found it. An old, spiral-bound notebook stuffed inside a dusty shoebox. It wasn't mine. I'd never seen it before in my life. But I recognized the handwriting instantly. It was hers. My heart started to beat a little faster as I opened it. The pages were filled with her elegant script, a torrent of emotional rambling, guilt, and confessions. With every line I read, my chest tightened. She wrote about a coworker she'd been involved with long before we had kids. She described it as just fun and not serious. My world started to tilt. Then I turned the page and found another entry. This one was about a second affair, right before we moved into this very house. She wrote about how guilty she felt, but also how relieved she was that I never suspected a thing. 17 years. 17 years we'd been together, and I realized in that moment that she had built our foundation on a bed of lies. Just then, she walked into the garage, a smile on her face that vanished the second she saw the notebook in my hands. Her face went completely white, like she'd seen a ghost. I kept my voice calm. I had to. I looked up at her and asked, "Is this yours?" She could only nod, her eyes wide with panic. "Is what you wrote in here true?" She didn't answer right away. She just sank onto a nearby storage bin, hiding her face in her hands. A muffled yes escaped her lips. And in that one word, something inside of me just collapsed. The man who had walked into that garage just an hour earlier was gone. She tried to explain. She said it was all so long ago. She said she had changed, that she wasn't that person anymore. She even tried to argue that keeping it a secret was her way of protecting me, of protecting us. I looked at her, the woman I thought I knew better than anyone, and I said, "Secrets don't protect a marriage. They rot it from the inside out." She reached for my hand, her fingers trembling, but I pulled away. I couldn't bear her touch. The tears started then. She cried and begged me not to throw away everything we had built, but I didn't yell. I didn't raise my voice or hurl accusations. I simply turned, walked out of the garage, and didn't come back for hours. When I finally returned, she was like a shadow, following me from room to room, her face etched with a terror I'd never seen before. She was terrified of the silence, of what it all meant. That night I slept on the couch. I could hear her sobbing in our bedroom, the sound echoing through the quiet house. The next morning, her eyes were red and swollen. She asked if we could talk. I told her talking wouldn't change history. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice cracking. "I need time," I said. "I need time to think about what the future even looks like now." Her panic just grew with every passing minute. She apologized over and over, as if the words themselves could somehow erase her actions. She swore her faithfulness. She promised she loved me. I just looked at her and said, "Love without honesty is just decoration." She said she would do anything, absolutely anything, to keep our family together. "You should have thought about that years ago," was all I could say. For days, the house was filled with this unbearable tension. I avoided her. She followed me. It was a miserable dance of guilt and betrayal. Eventually, I couldn't take it anymore. I turned to her and asked the one question that had been burning in my mind. "Did you ever plan to tell me?" She looked at the floor, took a deep breath, and shook her head. No, that one answer hurt more than the affairs themselves. In that instant, I knew. She wasn't sorry she had cheated. She was sorry she got caught. I met with a lawyer that week. I didn't tell her where I was going. He was very clear. He said I had every right to separate, to start over. When I got home, she looked at me with this flicker of hope in her eyes, as if my absence had somehow fixed everything. "Are we okay?" she asked, her voice small. I shook my head. "No," I told her, "we're not. The marriage, you remember, was a lie. A lie I never agreed to. She broke down again, the same cycle of begging, pleading, and promising. This time I didn't just walk away. I handed her the initial separation papers my lawyer had drawn up. She stared at the documents like they were a death sentence. "You can't do this," she whispered, shaking. "You can't." I looked at her, and for the first time, I felt a strange sense of clarity. "You already did," I said. 17 years ago?" She just collapsed into a chair, speechless, shaking uncontrollably. I didn't feel any joy. There was no sense of victory, just a profound, quiet calm. For the first time in nearly 2 decades, I finally understood the truth. Some betrayals take a long time to surface, but when they do, they poison everything they've ever touched. That evening, she packed a small bag and went to her sister's house. Her texts kept coming, little digital pleas for another chance. I didn't respond. Years of lies can't be washed away by a few hours of tears. Now I'm sitting here in this quiet house. It feels empty, but also free. The life I thought we had, the story I thought we were writing together, it never really existed. It was fiction. But the life I'm going to build from now on, that one will be real. It will be built on truth. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever faced a difficult truth in your own life, know that you're not alone. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about finding your way forward.